I managed to convince Mercyhurst to kind of like celebrate Ramadan.
Was it hard for you to share your culture? What I know is that when you do this, you have to wait one whole year.
Yes, very good point. Not only a year, it's actually 2 years.
It's 2 years?
It's 2 years. So there's two underlying factors to this. You have a lot of those, I don't know, kind of like dark feelings, anxiety, and you're like, what am I doing here? Like, is this right? Like, is it worth it? Such things make you feel less homesick.
You're having a whole university celebrate Ramadan?
Yeah. My name is Muhsin Khadrawi, and just to make things easier for people, I go by Mo, and that is like the first two letters of my name, so just like Mo Salah, you know?
That's how we get to know you, actually.
Exactly, yeah. I came here through an exchange program called Global Ugrad, and it was sponsored by the United States Embassy in Algeria, and it was administrated by World Learning Organization. So basically, it's an exchange program that usually gets 3 to 4 students from countries that are not so represented in the United States. Okay. So Algeria is one of them. So for example, there was a Ugrader like my semester for Geriola from Albania. Yes. So shout out to Geriola.
Shout out to her.
Yes. So we have Albania, for example. Last semester we had Dominican Republic, we had South Korea, we had Thailand.
Yes, Vietnam.
No, it was Thailand, South
Thailand?
Korea.
Okay.
Yeah, Thailand. Wilden.
Wilden,
Yeah, he was actually your
Thailand.
guest.
Okay.
Yeah. We also had
Nicaragua.
Nicaragua. Yeah, that was Luciana, and then we had Artemi from Russia.
And it's crazy because your story is that you came through that program and you were still able to manage to come back to the US, because what I know is that when you do this, you have to wait one whole year.
Yes, very good point. Not only a year, it's actually 2 years.
It's 2 years?
It's 2 years. So there's two underlying factors to this. So Global Ugrad, in order to apply for it, you have to have at least 1 semester to spend at your home university. And that was actually the case for me. I did not have only 1 semester, but I had 2 years. I was a sophomore in Algeria.
Oh.
However, COVID hit.
Yes.
So I got accepted 2019, and then we were just waiting for the program, to come back and then to actually travel to the United States. Yeah. But, with the travel restrictions, COVID and everything, we were not able to do that. However, it was some sort of a blessing in disguise for me. So I'm probably one of the few people that COVID actually worked for them. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah. So So during those 2 years, I had hybrid classes, online classes in my home university, and I managed to graduate like 1 month before I came here. So that condition of spending 1 semester was waived because of COVID. So we were the first cohort of Ugraders to come to the United States, even though we don't have to go back.
Yes.
Well, we have to go back, but it's just like we graduated.
Okay.
So, yeah. So the gist of it was to bring students who did not graduate yet. So just not to make it more complicated.
Yes. I mean, I don't think it was, because so my question for you is then, so when you were done with your college, but you didn't have to wait 2 years.
Yes, so exactly. Well, the 2 years were I was just in Algeria. It was COVID lockdown, but I was still studying online, so I graduated, and then it was the time to come to the United States. So I was like, oh, okay, so let's go. And I had some sort of a vision. So I was in Algeria. The transcripts are in French, so I had to translate them, because I knew I was probably gonna do something with it. So when it came. So when I came here, I liked one of the programs at Mercyhurst, which is the special education program concentrating in English language learners, and that's what I'm currently at. So I just applied for it off the bat, and you were actually one of the people that helped me do it. So Vishal as well,
Vishal, and then Dr. Lang.
And Dr. Lang. So shout out to those people. Yeah.
At what point do you decide to be involved in campus?
Global Ugrad was an exchange program that was supposed to be only for 1 semester, and then I have to go back to my home country. And that's the case for all Global Ugraders, even the same semester and other semesters after that. In my head, I was not sure that I'm going to stay in the United States, so I started making the best experience off of it. So I was like, I'm here for 1 semester, so might as well save money to travel, for example, make a lot of friends,
Yeah.
make it to those activities, learn everything. Like I went to ice skate and I fell on the ice like 100 times. You know,
Yes.
I was just like, I'm here to vibe. I'm here to learn. You know, so
Yes.
and that's how I would probably recommend to those exchange students to do it. Like, don't stay in that bubble. Don't seek people within your country because you lived in that country. You know
You
what I'm
already
saying?
know everything you know about that country.
Exactly. For example, Algeria is I don't know how to explain it, but in my entire life, I literally like never met an international student in Algeria. They
Oh,
were all
wow.
Algerians. I met few other, for example, tourists
Yeah.
from different countries, but mainly, for example, France, Morocco, Tunisia, you know,
Surrounding
but like
countries.
surrounding countries or like other African countries. However, I never met for somebody from Azerbaijan, for example.
Oh,
I never
true.
met somebody
Yes.
from, you know, Vietnam or like somebody from Nicaragua, Dominican Republic, Nepal. Like I lived with Prabhat,
With Prabhat,
and then
yeah.
Kenji. He's
Yeah,
like half
yeah.
Japanese, half Honduran, and this is what I adore about the United States. It's like those this like cultural blend and this melting pot that, you know,
Yeah.
that you learn more stuff every day. Like I
You
never
do.
met somebody from Cameroon until I met you. You
True.
were like my first Cameroonian
Yeah.
friend that, you know.
As an international student, it's very, very important to step out of your zone. But for you, what was the most difficult thing stepping out of your zone?
At first, I think it was probably like the language, though. Like I was pretty good at it, but at the same time, sometimes your English can't English, you know.
I know what you mean. I know.
Yeah, and actually, me coming to this podcast right now, I was thinking about it. Like, I know, like you understand me. Like you are
I do.
bilingual,
Yeah.
multilingual, probably. Because how many languages do you speak, Vlad?
2.5. French, English, and some
Two and a
Turkish.
half. Okay.
But
Yeah,
you
so,
speak
like,
what?
So I speak Arabic, French, English, a little bit of Tamazight, and a little bit of Spanish. So I can conversate. Like I would say 5, but not fully. So I
Okay.
would say like 4.5.
Okay.
Yeah. So one of those things that you get is that sometimes that like linguistic kind of part in your brain just doesn't click, you know?
It doesn't.
Like sometimes I'm tired of English. I don't want to talk English. And I was afraid that this today would be one of those days. So I was like, okay, please, that part, please work. This is a podcast. I'm supposed to speak in English. So let's
Yes.
do it.
No, it makes
Yeah.
sense. And one thing that I realized when I was as an international student is the fact that when you stay in your zone, and then with my guys we spoke French.
Hmm.
So once I get off of classes,
Yeah.
after I'm done speaking English, I'll speak French. And then when I try to converse with someone else,
Then
the French is kicking in.
Okay, this is interesting. I always ask like my fellow internationals, did your music taste change after you came here?
Oh yes.
So like in Algeria, I told earlier how I used to listen to a lot of English
Yeah.
song. That's how I learned English. However, when I came here, like me using English every day. I'm an assistant teacher, by the way. Like I work in a middle school, so I
Yeah.
teach science, math, and social studies. So I talk in English all day long, and then sometimes I'm tired of it. Like I don't wanna listen to more English, you know. So I noticed like most of my music just entirely changed. Like okay, like yesterday was the Spotify Wrapped day.
It was, yeah.
So like my rap like had only one English
I
song
think I saw
in my top.
yours.
Yeah.
There was
Yeah.
Algerian
So the rest
rhyme.
Algerian Algerian music, Algerian rap, and then Algerian and
Yeah.
Moroccan rap. So and some it was Spanish reggaeton.
Okay.
Yeah, and then English.
Okay.
So that's what I wanted to ask about. Like, what do you think?
It's my music taste changed,
It did.
but it was like I always want to go back home.
Yeah.
It's like okay,
This
yes,
is like-
I get it, I like it. But you know what? Let me just stop for now. Let me just go back listen to some nice Cameroonian music.
Yeah,
You know, because
yeah.
you want to, you still want to blend back home. You still want to. You can't lose that piece of home. That's the
Oh
thing
yeah,
too.
absolutely.
So
for sure.
you now when you come to the United States and with your Algerian culture, right? How do you get to share your personal culture to your friends and have them respect you for that?
Yeah. So very good question. I'll try to split it between casual and formal. So the
Okay.
casual ones were just like literally just discussions, just how we're talking right now.
Yeah.
We talking culture, you know, like when the other Ugraders came like that last semester, and for example, we are from different countries, and we're always learning from each other. So this is
Yeah.
how we do it. This is how you do it. This is my music, and so on and so forth. One very good example is that I managed to convince Mercyhurst to kind of like celebrate Ramadan.
Yeah, how did you
Yes,
do that?
yeah.
That was one of my points.
Yes. So for our listeners, Ramadan is a holy month for in Islam.
Yeah.
So the Muslim community, they fast during 30 days consecutively. However, they fast sunrise until sunset.
Yep.
So no food, no water, no other stuff. However, it's a very holy period for Muslim community. So for example, it's a time where like if you have a bad habit, this is the time to give it up.
Yeah.
This is the time, for example, for family reunion. This is
Yeah.
time for many things. Worship, like to strengthen that bond between you and your God. I noticed that like there are some scattered Muslims here, for example, in Erie and specifically Mercyhurst, that they are international students,
Yep.
and maybe you relate. But internationals usually feel homesick and lonely the most when it's the time for those holidays,
Yep.
like especially the family-oriented ones. So, for example, Thanksgiving. Like Thanksgiving, literally everybody in campus they go home,
Yep.
and then only internationals are there.
Yep.
So Ramadan is one of them for the Muslim community. It's like very, very family-oriented. So you can't just like eat by yourself.
Yep.
So I reached out to Mercyhurst, and I like shout out to them and thanks for like the welcoming and all of that. They loved the idea. We had a lot of emails back and forth, a lot of meetings, and then we put it together. So we were given a room of like
Okay.
a round table, and then we were accommodated for a month.
Wow. So
They
what-
even made like some international kind of like Middle Eastern or like North African food that usually we make during Ramadan and eat during Ramadan. So, for example, there was a cook, I think, from Jordan. His name is Happy. Have you ever met him?
I don't think so. Maybe if I see him.
Maybe, yeah. He's a Muslim Jordanian. He works in Grotto. And yeah, he managed to make some Middle Eastern Jordanian food that
Yeah.
usually like Muslim countries share.
I mean, that's
Yeah,
crazy.
yeah. So that's answering the question of like how we share our culture. So
Yeah.
we're kind of like rubbing off on each other, especially like when it's like a friend group. Like I learned a lot about Win, for example. He's from Thailand, and there's like I think it's a minority in South Thailand that is
Okay.
that is Muslim.
Okay.
So I learned a lot from him, and that's a way we casually learn
From each other. So what
So-
about your American counterparts?
Yeah. So the formal part was, for example,
okay.
the formal part. Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
good.
Yeah. So the formal part was, for example, I also put together an event. It was called the International Day at the
Okay.
school I work at. So it's Robert Benjamin Wiley Community Charter School. It's in Erie, Pennsylvania, on East Lake Road. So I brought some students from Mercyhurst, international students. We were a total of 12.
Oh,
So
nice.
we had Morocco, we had Liberia, Algeria. These are from Africa.
Yeah.
And then we had Thailand, South Korea, Japan, Taiwan, and Russia
Yeah.
from Asia. And then we had Germany, France, and we had Nicaragua and we had Nicaragua and Colombia.
Colombia. Okay.
And Colombia and Dominican Republic. So we were like a total of 12 or 13, if I'm doing the math
yeah,
right.
around that
Yeah,
number. I mean,
yeah.
less than 15.
Yes, less than 15 and totally more than 10. And then we went to RB Wiley, and then we
Okay.
had those like stations here and there. And then we had the 6th graders, then the 7th graders, then the 8th graders. They would come and then visit those stations. So in each station there was snacks. There were,
Oh.
for example, a poster that represents the country flag.
Yeah.
And it was like an infographic card that has, for example, the size of the country, the
Yeah.
map, the name, the languages, etc. And I put together that with the students. We have like the student government. So we
Nice.
worked on that for a month. And then one very cute thing that we had is that the students had those like tiny kind of like fake passports, and then we
Oh.
stamped them. So for example, let's say you're Cameroon and
Yeah.
I'm Algeria, students would come,
And you-
and then I stamped for them the visa.
That's
so,
nice.
So it was really nice. And then we stamp them, and then we teach them. So for example, I wrote their names in Tamazight and in Arabic.
Oh, nice.
So I wrote their names in different languages, and they loved that part. They always loved that part. Also, they tried some snacks. Like in Algeria, I gave them baklava, which is also like a
Oh,
famous sweet among Mediterranean countries,
Yeah.
Turkey, Greece, North Africa as well.
Yeah.
So they had baklava, and then in Morocco they had henna, the tattoo.
Oh,
So
wow.
they
That's
loved
nice.
it. The students love it. So, but it was Munira from Morocco,
I
the
think
Fulbright.
I met her
Yes.
in the oh my goodness, how do you call it again? The party you had.
Oh,
in your
at my
house.
place. Yes,
Yes,
yes, The
yes.
party I had. Yeah. So it was Munira. She put henna tattoos, not a permanent
It's not.
tattoo.
It's not.
Yeah, it's not.
yes.
It lasts for about like a month, I would say.
Yeah, we have the
Um,
same thing in Cameroon
Oh yes,
too.
yes. It's
Yeah.
very famous. And then she had the line of like 50 students,
Oh,
and
my
she was like
goodness.
from the start. She was all the time doing, and she did a great job. Even the teachers,
Wow.
tried. They loved it. And other tables as well. So for example, with Germany, they tried pretzels.
Okay.
German pretzel. There was Tabia from Germany. She's in the rowing team
Okay.
at Mercyhurst. There was Yuta from Japan. They were giving like the Pockies, like
Okay.
those the string ones.
Yeah.
So that was one of the formal ways to kind of like share my culture.
Was it hard for you to share your culture?
In a sense, it was, because sometimes I get kind of shut down by the stereotypes. So in a way, they would like shut me down, and in another way, they kind of stimulate me to have to do an action, and I
Okay.
have to fight them. So for example, I had one of the students in RB Wiley, and I told him like I'm from Africa, and he was like, no, you're not from Africa, and he judged that like from the color of my skin, because North Africans, as you know, they're
Yeah.
white. So Africa, that doesn't mean they're all like
All
dark
black,
skin and
yeah.
or black. So that's one of the stereotypes. And then you're not from Africa. And for example, I had like two of my other Algerians visited for Thanksgiving too.
Yeah.
And they look even whiter than Americans. They have like fair hair, blue eyes.
Wow.
I'll show you pictures later, and they're like full North African. So that's one of the stereotypes. So not all Africans are white, and not all Africans are black.
Yeah.
So and that
That's-
showed the diversity. Actually, like when we were when we were in the cafeteria, I was from Algeria. This booth was Morocco, and then there was Liberia. So you could see that we had three different skin tones.
Yep.
So it goes like from like kind of like white to like tan, which was
Yeah.
Munira,
Yeah.
and then to dark, which was Musa
Yes.
and Elfina.
Elfina, yeah.
Both of them came.
But
so
it's just like different skin
exactly,
tone, but they're all from the same
I
continent.
honestly did not plan it out that way. I'm
But
I'm not
it's-
that smart.
No. but it's
But
just like
it just worked.
it just
and,
worked, like,
and that
hey.
demonstrated it. Yeah.
wow. That's
Yeah, and
I-
that's diversity for you. So
if I'm not wrong, but if I'm wrong, correct me. You are the current president.
yeah,
of the,
I am the current president of the International Students Association.
How did that?
Yeah, my magic.
As
yeah.
as the current president and as an international student, why was it important for you to be part of the African? I mean, to the international student.
International. Yes. So I kind of want to relate this to the point of, as I told you, the internationals feel homesick most when it comes to holidays
Yep.
and so on. So there's for example, this American experience is nice. It's gonna open a lot of doors and opportunities for you, everybody. However, there is like a downside to it. Like
Okay.
sometimes it's 6 and it's dark and you kind of like that depression hits you.
Especially now with
and
winter.
And it's winter and it gets dark around like 4:30, and then you have a lot of those, I don't know, kind of like dark feelings, anxiety, and you're like, what am
yeah.
I doing here? Like, is this right? Like,
Is
is
this
it worth
worth
it?
it? Yep.
Like, did I abandon all my family, like my whole life, my friends, for example, in Cameroon, and why did I come
Yeah.
here? Is it worth it? And yada yada.
The
so
snow. I was comfortable
snow,
at home.
yes,
Now I'm here.
exactly. Yeah, everything, like the food, everything was good, and then it is good here, but it's just different. And then it is very, very important for international students to get involved. You need to meet other, for example, internationals to build those relationships, and also go do some activities together. You go ice skate, you go, for example, to the lake, you go bowling, you go like bunch of activities that you can do both on campus and out of campus. So these kind of activities, they help you kind of like feel better. You feel more welcome. You feel like your time is worth it. You're making also, you're networking, you're meeting new people. For example, I've been throwing those card nights at my place here and there. I'm very into card nights, so for every weekend I've been having like 8 to 9. Sometimes it went like up to 12, I think.
Oh, wow.
Such things make you feel less homesick.
It makes you
Totally. And also I wanted to give a shout out to MSG at Mercyhurst. They're really a dedicated team that help everybody at Mercyhurst with such things. So MSG is, I think, Mercyhurst Student Government. Yeah. So they host events, cultural, athletic, all the stuff, all the fun stuff, every week, and they usually put them in student union, and everybody is welcome to participate. So for example, we had the Diwali, which is like an Indian. We had like a Diwali. We had Diwali. We had Dia de los Muertos, Day of the Dead. We had, for example, we had the trivia. So a lot of such events. So
it's important to go to this event. Like, you were able to participate because you were able to go knock at the door. Don't be scared to be rejected at the end of the day. Like, don't be scared to say, hey, if I do this, they might look at me bizarrely, or they might be like, hey, where is this? Of course, like, yes, people will look at you like that. It's but you can't just focus on that. Focus on what you can control, and what you can control is what you create.
Absolutely.
So it's like, because I do like your experience. When you talk about you coming as a J1, then coming back for your master's, then being involved, then now having a whole university celebrate Ramadan.
That was like one of my hugest most huge thing I've ever done, I feel like, with Mercyhurst. And especially Mercyhurst is like a Catholic university.
I know.
So we're actually thinking of replicating it again for the next Ramadan. So Ramadan's gonna be, I think, mid-March through mid-April.
So it's something you want to keep.
Every year, for sure. And I'll keep. I'll make an action plan probably. You just reminded me to do it. I'll make sure to make an action plan probably for the future ISA president, so maybe they can keep the ball rolling with this.
Like, if you do not fight for yourself, no one will fight for yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think this is one thing that international that are listening. Don't be scared to share your culture.
For sure. And there's these things that kind of also help you at an individual level. Not only the community, but individual. I feel like me doing such things, they help with your leadership skills. Like sometimes I had an interview the other day, and they asked me like, tell us about an incident where you were a leader. And this was the point that I talked about. I talked about making Mercyhurst celebrate Ramadan for an entire month. You know, and that was something they found like even like bigger than what they were even asking for. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is huge. You know,
it is.
So it's kind of like those tiny nuances that build you up. So just keep making those initiatives here and there. What was the other thing that we did? So it was the international. And then it was the Hispanic Heritage Month. I was back in October. So I worked with the English language
department.
No, the English language teacher slash like specialist. At RB Wiley. And then we organized a concert for students and their parents at the school. So we had a dance instructor. And then she worked with kids on teaching them like how to dance salsa and bachata. And then we had the DJ we paid for. We established a date, and then parents came as well. We had food, we had empanadas, and then the parents loved it. The students loved it. They felt appreciated, you know. And it's such a big deal. And then we had the students on the stage, you know, dancing, and we had a blast. And that was like one of the most, you know, biggest events that RB Wiley have ever done.
Wow.
And pointing back at the International Day that I did, you know, like the yearbook that
Yes.
the school has.
Yeah.
It was actually the major event of the yearbook, so it was in the
wow.
yearbook.
That's
For, like,
bro,
yeah.
congrats. Wow, that's
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
was the main event in the yearbook. So
Yeah.
like if you open the yearbook of 2020 2023 RB Wiley, you would see like the pictures of the staff, then the picture of the students, and then the last 2 pages it was the International Day.
wow.
Yeah.
And just to put it back in context, right? This is like you've been in the US for what, 2 years now?
2 years and a half. Yeah,
So-
2 years and a half.
So it's
Yeah.
not a matter of how long you've been in the
Yeah,
US.
for
It's
sure.
a matter of like
The quality.
the quality
Yeah,
of what you
yeah,
do.
for sure, for sure.
Like it's like most people say, oh, maybe he's in the US for like 4 or 5 years. Nope,
Yeah.
you've been here for
See,
2 years.
And it
a
was
half.
an exchange student who was supposed to go back in a month, and then back to masters, and still now I'm almost
Yeah.
done with my masters.
And then
so,
you're about to jump into
yeah,
something else. So now,
yeah.
what are stuff about the American culture that you had to unlearn?
Stop shying around. Just go out there, and you will rock it. Like, just
Yeah.
give it a try. You never know. I was not able to start working. Guess why? Because of the social security number. So I did not work.
How did you overcome homesickness?